You're listening to the Overly Confident Podcast with your host, Heid and Garrett Ley.
Hello and welcome to episode 0 of the Overly Confident Podcast, the only podcast where two guys who aren't trained professionals are confident enough to go unfiltered while the entire world listens. I'm your host, Heid, alongside Garrett Ley again.
I'm going to be here all the time, unfortunately for you, particularly the guy who reviewed our last podcast and said the guy who isn't Derek needs to get off the air. Guess what? I'm back. I hope you listen.
Yes, shout out to Bernie, who reviewed AAF Analyzed on our iTunes account.
That's
and,
right.
Didn't like you too much.
I printed out that review and it hangs above my bed. I look at it every night before I go to sleep and I see it every morning when I wake up. It's what drives me. I'm not kidding.
It is motivation, very
It is.
clearly. So
I've never forgotten you, Bernie.
So we are
I'll
back
find
in the
you.
podcast
Just kidding.
world since AAF Analyzed has left us unsuspectingly. We weren't
Yes.
exactly ready for that.
Nope.
But we're going with overly confident. It's kind of a way to get people's mind off of everything being canceled right now and the world going into craziness. And we want to kind of go through, highlight some stories of our lives that we've been through and people around us. We want to kind of bring a dose of entertainment to everyone's ears in a world of craziness right now.
Oh, it's a world of crazy, that's for sure.
You're not wrong about that.
No.
So that's kind of our quick overview. We'd love to hear from some of our listeners as to things to talk about. We can talk about the XFL here and there. Keep in mind this is not the entire premise of the show, though. We didn't do an XFL podcast for a number of reasons. Number one being we are incredibly busy college students.
That's right. I thought that not being a pre-med major anymore would help. It didn't at all. I was actually poorly mistaken. I have many, many papers to write that I didn't have to write when I was a pre-med. I just had to study for organic chemistry and neuroscience, which right now I kind of miss, which is strange. But yes, we were extremely busy, both of us. Derek, you're doing all your comm radio and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I have plenty of broadcast stuff. I've been doing play-by-play for Penn State on a number of things there, including Big Ten Network. So it's been some really cool opportunities there, and it just kind of got in the way, and we weren't able to put as much time into an XFL podcast as we would have wanted to. We could have made one, but it wouldn't have been up to par with what we made with AAF Analyzed, and that just wasn't something we were okay with putting out there for our listeners.
Yeah, it's true. And also, we just would have had our hearts broken again. With the XFL canceling because of coronavirus, and that would have sucked because it sucked with the AAF because we put in all that work and then it went under, but at least we know the XFL is coming back, so there's always a chance we might get back involved with that because that'd be really cool, but once again, we would have had we're very fragile people, if you can't tell, so we would have probably cried for days or weeks or months or years on end about the loss of the XFL after we lost our initial child, the AAF, and it just really was heartbroken. Once again, just like I think about that comment from Bernie, I think about the AAF a lot, probably more than I should.
Yeah, we were just talking about it before the show that so many people kind of forgot that the AAF existed already, but it lives forever in our hearts.
Oh, it does. I might get it tattooed somewhere, like right above my heart or on my heart.
You have no tattoos right now. The only thing you're going to get...
No, the first one will be the AAF logo. That's right.
The AAF logo. Not even just the letters.
No, it'll be the whole logo in color, blue, white, and red. I could get our podcast logo tattooed on me too. That'd be fun.
You could do that.
Yeah.
I think our apparel's still available on Amazon Prime, which is kind of funny.
Really? Well, if anybody wants an AAF Analyzed shirt, please go over there because we might still get paid.
Emphasis on might.
Yeah, we don't really talk to the people who set up the store for us, so we probably won't, but I guess you'd give them some money, so that'd be cool. And you'd still rock our merch. It'd be like a collector's item.
It is a collector's item. I kind of miss those guys. Michael from the Hangover podcast was a really cool guy. They made a really cool show, and you can still listen to us being featured on their show. I think we did that twice.
Yes, I think. I don't know. That was a long time ago. That was
a
whole year.
Long time ago. They were fun guys to be around, though. I'd recommend listening to their podcast as well as our new one.
This one right here.
Yes, that is just it. So a throwback to our AAF days. But they're not behind us. We have plenty of experience with them, and we've got experience with podcasting because of the AAF. And we think we can make a pretty quality show here as well.
Yeah, so why did we want to make this show that we call Overly Confident? It's because we wanted to run our mouths. That's why. We're cramped up in our houses right now, and it sucks. So guess what? I want to talk. Derek wants to talk. We all want to talk. We want to talk about what's bothering us, what we think is crazy, cool stuff we saw on the internet, cool stuff that has happened to us. And that's why we made it, because we like to talk. And we thought everyone would maybe enjoy hearing us too. But obviously, in the case of Bernie particularly, he does not want to hear me. So, whatever. It's fine.
That's, I would say that's part of the reason. Another part of the reason for why we wanted to make Overly Confident is we kind of wanted to throw back and reminisce on the weird things that have happened in our lives up to this point. I'm sure some college students can agree and kind of reminisce in their own stories while listening to some crazy things that have happened to us. Only 19 years old, but we've had some...
20. I'm 20.
We've had some pretty crazy, weird things
Derek's
happen
a tiny
to us
baby.
still.
I'm 20.
Yes. 2 years of college. You've seen a lot of weird stuff. I've heard a lot of weird stuff, and I feel comfortable sharing some of that weird stuff with the world, and I think it'll make some people smile along the
Hopefully.
way.
I hope people need to smile now.
Smiles
are contagious.
Yeah, we also want to bring on a couple of people as a guest in our show. There's a couple of interesting people that I know personally I would like to bring on. And we have some funny ideas already. I'm not going to put any of their names out there quite yet because we don't want to cement them before they decide they want to come on. But I feel pretty confident that we can have at least a couple of guests that would make the show pretty funny because they are even better storytellers than we can be at sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of our friends are great storytellers, so hopefully they come on. Probably won't because they hate us, but that's fine.
I don't say they hate us, but, you know.
You know what? I say whatever I want because that's the whole premise of the show.
That is the premise of the show. So make sure you stay tuned for episode 1. That'll be coming out next week from the publish of this episode. Stay tuned to our Twitter, where we will be talking about the show and connecting with our listeners there. Any questions, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter. But until then, we'll see you soon.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Overly Confident podcast. Please leave a rating to let us know how much you enjoy the show. For the most up-to-date news on the podcast, please check out the GD Podcast Twitter account. And feel free to check us out at all other platforms.